Day 2. It's about 6:30 in the morning. We're putting our shoes on. We're going to go out, get some miles in. We'll come back to the shop, fire up the smoker, trim a couple briskets, throw those on, and continue working on the camper. It's another beautiful morning in Texas. Abnormally cool. We're out here at the trails again. Gonna do another 6 or 8 miles, 6 or 9 miles. Let's see how it goes. The 7-mile mark. Certainly a harder run today. That clockwise direction has a lot more elevation gain with longer duration hills. So I'm always a little bit slower in that direction. Pace isn't bad. We're off a minute or 2 from yesterday. So that puts us like 8:25, 8:30 overall pace, which I'll take. Not too bad. I do, bud. You go boy. You go boy. Yeah. Ready? 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 Mine. Ready? Just out here farming content. Hey man, you want to smoke some meats? I'm about to walk you through how to trim some briskets, get them seasoned up for the smoker, but first, we need to pull this bad boy outside. Quick overview of the smoker before we drag it outside. Cook chamber is a 375-gallon tank. We got 2 racks on the inside. The firebox is a 250-gallon tank. Cut in half. We got a Franklin style exhaust collector on the end here. An ovalized exhaust stack, which is a pretty rare feature. You don't see much. All right, I got you on the chesticle mount here. We're gonna run through setting up your initial fire in your smoker. All right, what you wanna do, set yourself up. Little log cabin style square here. Like so. You're gonna need a pretty good sized square of pink butcher paper. I want to take this guy, take your bacon pan from earlier, rub you some of that grease on there. That'll help you get that fire going. Alright, so now you take that brown paper with your bacon grease on it, give it a loose wad, and you're gonna just tuck that thing right there in the middle with a good gap underneath. You want plenty of airflow. Some lump charcoal. I like to typically use a full chimney, but this is all I've got today, so this is what we'll use. And you're gonna pour that right there in that center on top of that brown paper. Just like that. That's gonna help you establish a good hot core for this fire to get going. When all you've got's a hammer, everything looks like a nail. This is the most important piece you need though. Give ourselves a little pressure here. Oh yeah. Some jerk really wound up my hose nice last time. It was me. And I typically just lean her in there like that for a few minutes. On this particular smoker, I like to start the fire with the door open too. Just any excess draft you can get really helps that get going. Get you a little heat soak in the material too, which will keep your temperatures more stable. Alright, fresh battery in the GoPro. I'm going to walk you through a quick and dirty brisket trim. We got two briskets here. This one's from a local cow, which is pretty sweet. And this is a choice brisket, no, select. It's 13 pounds right now. We're probably going to trim it. You're going to need just a couple of tools here. Big cutting board, it's nice. These things are large, and a small cutting board, they're always hanging off the edge somewhere. A boning knife, and sometimes I use a little paring knife too. The local butcher does a pretty good job of trimming these briskets. Here's the flat, the point's over here, pretty small brisket, and this layer of fat between the flat and the point is flavor. Just clean this up a little bit. And you're going to want to save all this fat you trim off. I'll show you a tip with that later. You can go crazy with this trimming. Today we're not going to do that. Ain't nobody got time for that. We'll probably take quite a bit more off of this one. Pull my meat out here. Here we are about 10 minutes later. That's a great looking fire to get started. We're gonna poke these around a little bit, add a couple of logs, we'll go back in and season those briskets. To season these briskets today, we're gonna go equal parts salt, pepper, garlic. Limited on how much pepper I have on hand. So that's gonna determine how much we have. About a half cup of each. And we'll throw in some of this Poncho and Lefty SPG. Basically the same thing. We need to stretch this a little bit though. Get your hands in there, mix it all up. Could have used a bigger bowl. And then just throw it on. Smoker's heating up right now, as you've seen in the other clips. So I typically just season, you know, maybe up to an hour before it goes on. Make sure you get those edges good. Spicy. You want to keep in mind that these are, you know, 12 to 15 pounds of meat. This may look like a lot of seasoning, but in reality it's not. Rub it in all the cracks and crevices. That's gonna be tasty. Just take this wad of fat, plunk it into this bowl for later. Alright, fire's going good. We're gonna set up the side we're cooking on now. You can see we're just sitting at 275, which is perfect. Material is getting some heat in it, which will actually help stabilize things. We're gonna want to get this water pan set up. It's pretty hot right now. Relative humidity in my area is in the low teens most of the time, sometimes in the single digits. So I find a water pan really helps create that moist, smoky environment that we're going for. And this smoker, the football as they call it, the firebox to cook chamber opening is pretty large, but I typically just set it as close as I can to that. In the future, I plan to add a dedicated water pan here, and it'll mount just above the firebox opening there. And with your fire ripping, your water pan set up, we'll go ahead and shut this, let the racks come up to temperature. We'll put the meat on in about 20 minutes. As you can see here, good clean burning fire. You can barely tell that there's a hint of smoke coming out of it. All right, time to slap these bad boys on. Look out, bud. We're gonna do this big guy first. Right up next to the water pan. And the little tiny one over here next to it, hiding behind it. Good bit of space between them. That's what you want. Now that we got the smoker running, it's about 10 o'clock. I'm gonna sit down in the office for a few hours, start managing all these video files I've shot this morning. We'll be back out in the shop later to continue working on these camper sides. And I'll have a more detailed video to come on this stuff. It's all a little disjointed right now, but the storytelling process is pretty difficult. It's just like the Simpsons, Jake. It's all meat, no potato. I set a timer on the dumb phone. Make sure I check the smoker every half hour. Also, all the batteries are dead, so we'll charge those too. We got some good smells going, which is good. I suspect this little one is about ready to wrap. Gloves, just reach in and grab this guy. Oh, she's tiny. Plop her down on your peach paper. Fold her up. Put that one back in there. A little bonus tip with the fat trimmings I was telling you about. You're going to take these, and if you got a rack above your briskets, go ahead and just throw those up there. They're going to render down, drip down onto your meat, help keep that moisture level nice. These are the windows that install into this frame that you saw yesterday. Today's task is to cut the hole for the window so that it installs from the other side and gets a trim ring on top. First step in cutting the hole in the side is we're going to need a template. So this is a piece of 1/8 inch door skin, and it's one-to-one match to the size of the window. Use this top bearing router bit in the trim router here to ride along the edge of this template and cut our foam to the exact dimensions of the window. The first thing we need to do to use this template to cut the window opening is to lay it out on the other side. We'll actually do all the cutting from the other side. We're just going to drill a hole right at the end of each flat straight section here. We'll flip it over and we'll connect those lines to locate our template. Sharpie and a straight edge, we'll go through, find our holes, line up our straight edge on them, and connect the dots. With those lines marked out, we can use them to now locate our template. And once I'm happy with the location, just gonna mark some reference marks so we can take this template on and off while we get set up with the router. We're gonna stick that template down with some double stick woodworking tape. All right, we've got our template located and stuck down. We got our router set up, and we're gonna run this on a time lapse. We can peel the template off, see what we're left with. I went ahead and cut away the center section with the jigsaw. Now I'll come in with a utility knife and just trim the excess. Maybe this is a better option. Okay, so I'm all mixed up. This is the wrong window. We need glass on this side because this is the outside of the camper. Now we need to put a round over on this edge so that the glass can wrap around this corner well. And we'll do that with the router. Now we just need to tune that edge up with some sandpaper. And this side will be ready for glass. Here's a quick finish shot. Couldn't resist putting the window in. After 5 o'clock, so we're gonna call that a day. We'll do a much more in-depth video on this camper, probably the next episode. Gonna get the shop cleaned up, set up for tomorrow. We'll continue to smoke this brisket, and we'll go from there. Warm there. Just add one split this time. We're gonna let these guys rest for 20-25 minutes before we handle them. A good rest does two things. It redistributes the moisture. Also, it keeps you from burning your hands. So it hasn't exactly been 20 minutes, but I'm hungry. That stream of juice is exactly what you want to see. Oh, it's a tiny one. You can save this grease-soaked paper for the next time you need to start your smoker. I put it in a gallon Ziploc, throw it in the freezer. This little guy's so small, I'm not even going to bother separating the point and the flat. I'm just going to slice it. When you slice it, you're going for about a 1/4 inch thick, or the size of a number 2 pencil. Just grab a slice here and do a little tug test. Oh yeah, she's nice. This is a real fatty cut, good for chop. And there you have it, beautiful sliced brisket. That's everything you need to know about cooking a brisket. Next video is about the camper. I'd like to flesh that idea out for you, tell you the backstory on it, and what all the plans for the future are.